Members of boards of education hold a unique public trust. They are elected officials, however, they serve without pay and devote hundreds of hours to their duties. This community depends on its school board to provide for the education of the community's children, to see that the property and finances of a district are properly managed, and to ensure that the many laws governing education are followed. Changes in education law and financing continue to make this a challenging time to serve on a board of education. So to our candidates, I too thank you for your desire to serve your community as a Board of Education trustee. After opening statements, where each candidate will have 3 minutes to speak, I will begin with questions. Questions will be directed to the candidates in rotating order so that each person will have the opportunity to answer first. But all candidates will answer each question. Answers will not exceed 2 minutes, and the timekeepers will be facilitating through the PTSA. A yellow card means that there are 30 seconds remaining, and a red card means that time's up, but we will allow you to finish a sentence. As moderator, I have the discretion to combine similar questions, reword questions, rule out inappropriate or repetition questions before I ask them, and my decision for that will be final. Because we have 6 candidates and a large audience, I will try to get to as many questions as possible before the time frame is up. I'm not expecting that we'll get to all of them, but I will try to prioritize them such that you get a good sense of what you would be expecting from a Board of Education member in these candidates. At the end of questions, each candidate will be able to make a closing statement of no more than 2 minutes. And if I want to introduce the candidates as they appear on the ballot. Mr. Ted Aresti, Ms. Renee Sanchez-Kazakos, Gary Graziano, Jerome Jean Gills, Kim McCluskey, and Joyce Sincota. And the panel of candidates have allowed me to ask them questions by their first name, for which I'm grateful. So we'll begin with opening statements. And Ted, you get to go first.
Good evening. I've lived on Leeward Lane in Pittsford for the past 18 years with my wife Chris and my 3 daughters, twins Abby and Carly, who are seniors at Sutherland, and Natalie, an 8th grader at Calkins. They were my inspiration to run 3 years ago for the board, a desire to give back to the district that has done so much for my family. I currently work as executive director for the Brighton Fire District, where I have also served as a volunteer firefighter for 32 years, rising to the rank of chief. Additionally, I co-own JetX Delivery Service. I have served on numerous boards, including the Pittsford Youth Service Board, where I was treasurer and gained exposure to the social and emotional needs in our schools through this experience. I can honestly say that the past 3 years, it has been both an honor and a pleasure to serve as a member of this Board of Education. I won't say that it has been easy, but that it is not what I signed up for. I committed to work hard for our children, scrutinize the budget, and make responsible decisions, and I believe that is what I've done. While serving on the board, I've enjoyed attending the many meetings, participating in retreats and workshops, and my favorite, attending building tours to meet with our staff to see firsthand what is going on in our schools and support facilities. On a broader scale, I have enjoyed chairing the district's audit committee and participating in the Monroe County School Board's Information Exchange Committee. I believe that this board is completely student-centered, weighing all decisions against the measure of what is best for the students. When I ran for this board 3 years ago, I stated that I thought what made this district a cut above the rest was a secret sauce, if you will, called collaboration. I have experienced this over the past 3 years and can confirm this to be true. I am amazed to the extent to which collaboration exists at all levels. Watching new initiatives get created and rolled out, I have seen this process in action and the extensive involvement at all levels. Though often taking longer than I would normally like, it makes sense to have everyone involved as far greater results are achieved. My one and only commitment as an incumbent is to continue to foster the involvement of the community at large and an improved two-way communication with them. The district has made great efforts in this area, however, there is more work to be done. I could not possibly conclude without complimenting our incredibly talented administrators, teachers, and support staff. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many of them over the past 3 years. I appreciate how they give of themselves so passionately every day. You will not find a better group anywhere. I am ready, willing, and able to serve another term and would appreciate any and all support. So please come out and vote May 16th for the budget, for full day K, for TED, and most importantly, the kids of the Pittsford Central School District. Thank you.
Thank you. And Renee.
Good evening. It's nice to see you all here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to come here and to listen to all of us as candidates for the Board of Education. My name is Renee Kazakis, and I'm here to let you guys know a few things about myself. First of all, I'm actually not originally from Rochester. I'm originally from Orchard Park, New York, and I've been here since 1999 when I took my first teaching position as a social studies teacher at Roth Middle School. This year I'm finishing my 18th year of teaching. I have my BA and MA, both in education from SUNY Fredonia. I am currently married with 2 kids, Campbell and James, who are in the 4th and 3rd grades at Thornell Road Elementary, and we've been living here in Pittsford since about 2010. And as a family over the years, we've become more involved with community activities. We are involved with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, as well as various community sports, and I'm proud, excited, and extraordinarily nervous that I will be coaching my daughter's 3rd and 4th grade soccer team this spring for Pittsford Mustangs. I'm looking forward to it, but this is a lot easier than coaching, I think. One thing I want you guys to all know about me is that I love teaching. It is my passion, it is my career, it is what I do best. I've had many roles than just being a classroom teacher. I've run student council at National Junior Honor Society. I've been a collegial coach to new teachers that have come on board. I've mentored student teachers from our local colleges. And I've worked on developing curriculum for our school district. And over the years of teaching, I've even been blessed to co-teach with special education teachers. And all of these experiences, plus many others combined, have really provided me with the ability to be able to teach and reach a diverse population of students. And it's from this love of teaching and from my passion that I have for it, I would like to do more for our community, and I've been inspired by my students to do more for all of you as I do more for them. And I look forward to utilizing my educational experiences by bringing my unique perspective as both a parent and as a teacher to the Board of Ed. It is evident to me that this district prides itself on rigorous standards and maintaining academic excellence. In order to maintain these standards, it is imperative that our district be both competitive and comprehensive in our educational offerings to all of our students. We need to maintain our high standards and continue to offer relevant classes that prepare even our youngest of learners. And these goals cannot be achieved by the Board of Ed alone. It takes more than just us to make this work. And if elected, it is my plan with all of the stakeholders involved to listen to ideas, to continue to work towards the best solutions for our community. And we will accomplish this for all students, not just for the students who are currently enrolled, but for future students who will one day benefit from our collaborative and our thoughtful decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary.
My name's Gary, and I'm a recovering architect. I have a Bachelor of Architecture from Cornell and a Master's in Engineering Management from Drexel. So what this means, if you've heard about the dynamic that exists between architects and engineers, is that I spend a lot of time arguing with myself. Anyway, Pittsford has been my home base since the late 70s when my parents moved here to the house in which they still live. My wife Nan and I had our first home in the village and moved back here in 2014 to buy a preschool in Bushnell's Basin and make Pittsford our permanent home. We have 2 grown children, Dan, a Pittsford native who attended RIT and lives in Pennsylvania, and Liza, who has 2 degrees from Cornell and is living and working in the UK. Both attended Pittsford schools as well as schools in other states. I've been a little bit of a nomad. My background encompasses more than 35 years of diverse and deep business, community service, and board leadership experience. For example, I've served as an executive with McGraw-Hill and in the facilities group in the Rochester City School District. I've also written more than 24 articles on strategy, planning, and innovation. And I have experience running local, regional, and national association boards, turning around a troubled nonprofit and growing it to serve 2,500 people with disabilities in 33 counties across Pennsylvania, and overseeing the building and operation of a large public library in a town of 40,000 people, about the size of Pittsford. To learn more about me, you can visit www.gcg-pcsd-boe.info. Okay? Now that's enough about me. It's time now to share what I'd like to do for you. My mission in running for the board is to ensure that Pittsford schools remain the best in the area and among the best in the state and the nation. That is my primary goal. And that future budgets are responsible, sustainably funded, and affordable for all taxpayers, because it takes 2 tax-paying households without a student to support everyone with a student. Next, I'm going to share why I'm running. First, I'm troubled by the budget process, the way the board conducts itself, and the unsatisfactory outcomes they've delivered regarding last year's budget, this year's budget, the extended school day proposal, and the full-day kindergarten rollout. I'm also deeply concerned about a budget projection showing increases of about 4% a year for the next 10 years, and that's before adding in the cost of full-day kindergarten and some newly acquired long-term liabilities. Hence my candidacy, because where I see an opportunity that I can apply planning, management, process improvement, and creative problem solving to make a difference, I get involved. Here's my bottom line. Unless we want to see regular tax increases of 4% or more, our board needs members such as me who have the determination and skill sets to maintain our great schools and also manage our finances, because failing to plan and line item budget scrubbing are not strategies for success.
Thank you. Thank you. Jerome.
I want to first thank everybody in the audience and everyone here for attending this meeting and allowing all of us to introduce ourselves to you. I am Jerome Jean Gills. I've been in Pittsford probably for the shortest tenure of anybody here. I moved into this community roughly almost 4 years ago. I didn't know what to expect. I was attracted to this community mainly because of the outstanding school district that was here. And I'm a father of 2 young children, aged 6 and 4. My oldest, I should say, is just recently got plugged into the Pittsburgh school district. And I would say my familiarity with education is that I've probably been in the education system for the longest. But in the other aspect, I've been a student for the majority of my life. And up until recently, I've had the opportunity, because I've become an academic assistant professor at University of Rochester. I am a clinician there, but I also teach medical students, graduate students, and resident doctors. It's allowed me to now also see the full gamut as a student and also now as a teacher. And granted, as a teacher, I see the success of a good education system. These are students who have gone through the full gamut of a good school system, whether it be in middle school, high school, and graduate school. And this is what I want for all of our children in this district, to be able to continue to reach their upper limit and excel to their highest potential. So as far as what I can bring to this board, I don't have any political background or any. I was really inspired by the current climate of this country, where it seems to be an attack on the public school system, and I definitely want to preserve our school system. Yeah, again, this is one of the things that is the strongest aspect of our town. Now, I should also say that, I'm granted the school system is one of the main features that brought me here, but I fell in love with this town. I wasn't sure I was even going to stay in this town for a long time, but I moved into a very diverse community. I was really surprised in the diversity in this town. I love the area, the opportunities, all the different opportunities you have here, and then meeting people and engaging with the community has made me feel like I'm very fortunate to be in this town. And I want to, I do bring a different perspective as a physician, where my mind works in a different process. I really focus on evidence-based and data to drive my decision making. And I think I can bring that different type of critical analysis on the board and help, as some of our colleagues want us to have a fiscally responsible budget, but also want to maintain an excellent school system, which was imperative for all of us that live in as residents in Pittsburgh.
Thank you. And Kim.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Kim McCluskey, and I'm currently serving in my 21st year on the Board of Education. I've lived in Pittsford for about 30 years. I have two sons who graduated from Sutherland High School, I've served in the board on the board leadership 6 times as president and 6 times as vice president. And prior to my board service, I served 2 years as president of the PTSA. Over the years, I've served on many district committees, and I've held other various leadership positions at both the county and the state levels, including I'm president of the Monroe County School Board Association, and I was a representative to the New York State Regents Advisory Committee. I've also presented at several state and national conferences. And all of this has given me, I think, a comprehensive view of today's educational issues. Outside of the school district, I've served 12 years as a member of the Golisano Children's Hospital Board, and I've also served 14 years on the Nazareth College Board of Trustees. This work helps to broaden my perspective and to keep me in tune with the greater Rochester community. I have a strong financial background. I have a BS in accounting and 10 years of work experience in public accounting and administration at Strong Memorial Hospital. I've also worked as a leadership coach and a consultant for local and state school boards. Without a doubt, I think this is one of the most challenging times public education has ever experienced. It requires creativity and a collaborative approach in order to reach solutions that maintain the excellent, well-rounded education we currently provide to our students. In recent years, there have been numerous negative issues that impact public education. I, along with many others, have consistently advocated for our district by communicating to our legislators, the Commissioner of Education, and the Governor. I believe that working together among all of our stakeholder groups is one of the most important things that this district has, and definitely one of the strengths of our district. Along with it being a challenging time in education, though, it's also a very exciting time. The world and education here have and will continue to dramatically change at a very rapid pace. Today's students have much different needs, and they need an ever-changing skill set. They need to learn to manage and interpret vast amounts of information. They must possess critical thinking skills, along with problem-solving and decision-making skills. They need to have the ability to accept change and to value diversity. They need to be team players and lifelong learners. They need rigorous, authentic, real-world experiences. We must also foster the development of qualities such as respect for others, responsibility, and integrity. Our students' success depends on the quality of education that they receive today in our schools. I'm seeking re-election because I'm committed to the quality of education in Pittsford and our area and to the success of all of our children. Thanks.
Thank you. And Jory.
Hi, my name is Jory Sincata, and my husband Eric and I have lived in Pittsburgh for 13 years. We have 4 children in the school district. Our oldest daughter, Anna Olivia, will be a 9th grader at Mendon High School next fall. We have twins as well, who will be 8th graders at Barker Road Middle School, and we have a fourth grade son named Reeve, who will be a 4th grader at Park Road Elementary. I graduated from Marist College with a degree in public relations communications, and I have worked in the higher education field for over 20 years. West Coast, UC San Diego. Here in New York State, I've worked for Marist, Keuka College, Hobart William Smith, and currently I am a graduate enrollment representative at Nazareth College. I've also run a successful college consulting business for the last 2 years. I stayed at home when my children were small, and during that time I served as the financial secretary for my church's council and as the treasurer at Christ Clearing Community Preschool, where all my children attended. I became the building PTSA chair at Park Road Elementary in 2011, where I served as a parent representative on the Instructional Leadership Council and began attending district PTSA meetings. At the end of my term, I was asked if I was willing to serve as the district PTSA co-president, and I accepted. My first year, our superintendent formed a district advocacy team to address rising issues with new standards implementation, changes to the teacher evaluation process, pressing issues from the tax cap, and limited, unpredictable state funding. It was a crash course for me on issues surrounding public education and the need for advocacy, and not at all what I had envisioned as my leadership stint in PTSA would be about. While this work did consume much of my time during my 2 years as co-president, I was able to revamp PTSA's communication outreach to parents through e-news and social media, which I still oversee, forge stronger relationships between building PTSAs, and streamline many of our program processes. I also attempted to educate both our parents and the school district on the role of PTSA as a standalone child advocacy group. I learned a lot. I made a few missteps, and I probably learned more from that than anything else. I've certainly ruffled a few feathers along the way, but I've also formed amazing relationships with parents, teachers, and administrators who are all critical to our success, and when we work together, we do great things. I believe the key to effective collaboration is good communication, encouraging others to take risks in their thinking, and truly listening to others without defensiveness. We've been dealing with challenges on multiple fronts for the past few years: new standards and curriculum, financial limitations with growing costs, and a sense of attack on our teachers and public education as a whole. I think it's left many of us feeling unsure and vulnerable. The need for our community to work together to address these issues is more critical than ever. I'm not afraid to ask tough questions and make sure that we share those answers with all of you. My hope is that I bring my relationship and communication skills, coupled with the knowledge I've gained the past 6 years, to help foster respectful, productive dialogue and effective, transparent feedback loops to our processes. I am so happy to see all of you here tonight willing to engage with us, because your participation matters, most importantly to our children.
Thank you to all of you. Before we begin, I've had a couple people bring questions to me. If you have a question, hold it up on one of your cards, and we'll get the PTSA folks. And anytime during the questioning, if you've developed a question, just hold it up, and someone will look around and get that for you. People in the front are willing to bring them up. I'm guessing the people in the back aren't so willing to run up here, but we want to get out to all your questions. Okay, so again, we're going to start with the first question with the ballot order. So Ted, you'll get the first question. And this is about your role on the Board of Education. And if you are a incumbent, it's one part, and if you're not an incumbent, it's another part. So if you presently sit on the board, what specific dimensions have you brought to the board that are unique? If you are seeking election to the board for the first time, what dimensions do you add that might enhance the current board?
As somebody that sits on the board, I feel that the most unique thing that I bring is my accounting background and business background acumen. Having served in public accounting and in private accounting for a number of years, it's a different angle coming from private industry. I look at the numbers differently than most people do, and I spend a lot of time analyzing those and looking at those, and something that I enjoy doing, which is not something that most people do. And so that's my uniqueness and angle.
Thank you. Renee.
Thank you. Being a first-time member of the community running for the Board of Elections, for the Board of Education, I do feel like there's a few dimensions that I'll be able to add. Aside from the fact that I'm a parent and an educator, I believe that my honesty, my forthright communication with parents and with teachers, students, the community as a whole, will bode well for me as well as for you. My willing to stand up for children and to do what is right. I'm not afraid to stand alone, and I am more than willing to speak up when necessary. And I do believe that I am very approachable. I'm not one of those people who is standoffish and doesn't want to hear what you have to say. I'm one of those people who I want to. Don't be surprised if I engage you in Wegmans, and I'll see how things are going and if there's anything that I can do to help. I want to hear what people have to say, and I want to hear how we can do things better for all of you.
Thank you. Gary.
Well, there are a number of skill sets I can bring, some of which I am sure are resident on the board already, perhaps not always apparent. But first of all would be my listening skills that I gained through years and years of marketing research, my analytic skills, I'm pretty high on that scale, my strategic thinking and planning skills. We've got some big long-term challenges that we have to deal with, and you have to attack them now. My financial skills as opposed to accounting skills. I, like Ted, have spent a lot of years in business, and I look at things perhaps differently than an accountant would or than an educator would. My skills and bent towards innovation, creative problem solving, and creative problem solving facilitation, I think, could be very helpful in moving the district along to new solutions faster and probably with less expense. Sort of lastly, I'd bring tenacity to the job. I would have high energy, and I would take great pride in serving you.
Thank you. Jerome.
All right. Well, before I get into what I can bring to the board as a member, I want to take an opportunity to thank the current board members, including two incumbent running for re-election, for doing a tremendous job in navigating some of the several financial hurdles to create a budget that finally can bring full-day kindergarten to Pittsburgh while maintaining the same high quality of education we all expect from our school district. So as a physician and a product of the New York City public school system, I fully understand the power of education and the opportunities that it brings to those that are fully engaged in the learning process. On a daily basis, as a physician, I make life-altering decisions by relying on evidence-based medicine and research. So as a board member, I would be using a similar decision-making approach to support policies that would be in the best interest of our students mentally, physically, and socially, while at the same time placing our students in the best position possible to succeed for the future. As a clinical teacher, as I mentioned earlier, of medical students and graduate students and resident doctors, I see the end product of a good education. As a board member, I will only support policies that ensure we have the best quality teachers and maintain this academic rigor that the district is known for. I will strive to make sure that all of our children, from our special needs children to gifted students, excel to their fullest potential. So I hope I can have your support on May 16th.
Thank you. Kim?
As a current board member, I think I agree with Ted and also what Gary said, that my accounting background and my finance background certainly help when it comes to budget matters. I've chaired the audit committee, and obviously budget and funding is a huge part of the school district and the board right now with the budget. I think I'm a good listener, and I truly believe that one of the reasons our district is does so well is the collaboration between all of our stakeholder groups. I put students first. I think our whole board actually puts students first when it comes to making decisions, and the same thing, that's all students with all different kinds of needs. I also feel that I am a good advocate. I've done a lot of advocacy work, and with today's state aid and funding for schools, I feel like that's just going to get more and more difficult, and we really go to see our legislators. We make trips to Albany, and I think I've developed some relationships with our legislators, and also I think it's unique what we do. When we go to see legislators, lots of times we go in a group with Monroe County School Boards, but lots of times we'll take like our teachers union president, our PTSA president, leadership in our board, and we go as a group and show them how we do work collaboratively to make things better for all our students. And so I think those are things that I currently bring to the board and certainly would like to continue doing.
Thank you. And Jory?
I bring a few things. Personally, I'm a parent of children at all building levels here in the district, and specifically on the Mendon side, which is a little less represented on our current Board of Education, so I think that will provide some balance of perspective. I do have a communications background, and most importantly in my PTSA work, that's really been the main focus of what I try to do, is outreach to families in ways that work for them. I was the person who started the Pittsburgh PTSA Facebook page and our Twitter account. I revamped our e-news so that it would be something that would be more effective for parents and give them information that they found valuable. That current parent community survey you just got all in the email this week, I'm the head of the committee that created that survey and felt that its importance was critical to PTSA moving forward to serve our families. I work in the higher education field, which oftentimes, for those of you who do work on college campuses, sometimes can be a little bit of a step ahead on risk-taking and creative thinking, and we get lots of professional opportunities at Nazareth in particular. And on one area that I know has become really a focal point in our community is diversity and inclusion. Nazareth just approved a VP of Diversity and Inclusion and has a thriving community discussing those topics. They offer daily opportunities for staff members to learn about those things. And I also sit on, I sit on the Monroe County Educational Coalition Board, which is a combination of all of the major stakeholders of public education in Monroe County. So there's Sherry, the Monroe County Boards Association actually hosts that group, but there are teachers, representatives, school business officials, administrators, superintendents, and I'm the only parent representative on that board. We work to talk about issues in education that affect all of our constituents, and then we actually lobby to legislators to advocate in effective ways to get things done. And so I believe I'm the only person only parent in our whole region who actually serves on that board.